No, you know what, though, the people can, it's one-on-one, I'm okay with it. You can go ahead and start, Tom.
Okay, ready to start the BZA meeting, January 25th, 2022.
Mic's on, please.
Yeah, mine's on.
Thank you.
We'll start with a word of prayer. Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day. Lord, we have so many blessings, and we just thank you for those. We thank you for the winter season and the change of seasons that we have. Lord, you are so good to us, and we thank you for that. We thank you for this county. We thank you for the growth that we've had, Lord, and we just pray that you will lift up all the military and the firemen and everybody that protects us. Lord, we just ask that you will protect them. Lord, we live in crazy times, and we ask that you protect each and every one of those, that they put their life on the line. Lord, as we continue on this meeting today, we just pray that you will guide us and help us to make best decisions for the county. This we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Yes, sir. Lisa Hobbs,
Here.
Corey Bowlander, Jerry Stam,
Here.
Kurt Stevenson,
Here.
and John Zimmerman.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, since it's the first meeting of the year, we need to have the elections. Jeff, do you want to run this one?
You have three offices to elect today: chairman, vice chairman, and secretary. The secretary need not be a member of the BZA, but the chairman and vice chairman must be. Are there any nominations for chairman of the Madison County Board of Zoning Appeals?
I would like to nominate John Zimmerman.
Second. We have a nomination and a second for John Zimmerman. Are there any other nominations for the office? Hearing none, roll call vote for John Zimmerman for Board of Zoning Appeals, please, Stacy.
Yes. Lisa Hobbs,
Yes.
Jerry Stam,
Yes.
Kurt Stevenson,
Yes.
and John Zimmerman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Are there any nominations for vice chairman of the Madison County Board of Zoning Appeals?
I'll nominate Kurt Stevenson.
Second.
We have a nomination and a second for Mr. Stevenson. Are there any other nominations for the office? Hearing none, ask for a roll call vote for vice chairman Kurt Stevenson.
Yes. Lisa Hobbs,
Yes.
Jerry Stam,
Yes.
Kurt Stevenson,
Yes.
John Zimmerman.
Yes.
Thank you.
And lastly, secretary. And the secretary, as I stated earlier, does not need to be one of you. It could be. You could draft Corey if you got drafted at the Plan Commission meeting. But are there any nominations for secretary?
I nominate Stacy Hinton.
Nomination and second for Ms. Hinton. Any other nominations? Hearing none, Ms. Hinton, voice vote, please.
Yes, sir. Lisa Hobbs,
Yes.
Jerry Stam,
Yes.
Kurt Stevenson,
Yes.
and John Zimmerman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Now we have approval for the November 23rd meeting.
I make a motion we accept the BZA minutes for November 23rd, 2021.
Second.
Sorry, roll call vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Abstain.
Actually, I'll abstain, I wasn't here.
We'll need to hold those over to the next meeting.
Okay.
Pardon me?
It requires a majority of the entire board to pass something, so we'll hold it over to the next meeting. We'll have two votes. You abstain and Lisa abstain.
Oh, that's right, we
We
weren't here.
both were here.
So no big deal.
Okay, all right, I just hate to vote for someone I wasn't even here.
I'll withdraw my motion. I'll withdraw my motion.
Be that way. All righty, so we got the first petition, 021. This morning we're going to run things a little different. Jeff's going to kind of help us out here a little bit. How do you want to run this?
Well, we can discuss it and see what
Discuss.
the board wants to do.
Okay.
As I think we all know, Planning Director Brad Newman is ill and has not been in the office for quite some time and is not expected back in the short term while he recovers from his illness. As such, you do not have in front of you a staff report, proposed findings, etc. You have a couple options here today. My recommendation is that all these be open and heard today. Evidence, people have shown up, they've sent out their notices. So you could hear both evidence for and against, and you would have the ability to provide provisional approvals or provisional denials pending a drafting of findings of fact. State law and county ordinance requires us to make findings of fact. We could, on particular ones, we could either recess or struggle through it during the meeting itself. But absent the things that Brad puts in front of you that we sometimes amend, in order to follow the law, we do need to have those in front of us. We need to adopt those at the time either we accept or deny a petition. That doesn't stop us from hearing these, opening these, and then if we can't make a final ruling here today, we can continue them, and it may just be paperwork at the next one. These are the findings we'll make, boom, you can go on from there. The provisional approval would not have the full legal effect. Theoretically, you could come back at your next meeting and change your minds, but practically speaking, if someone comes up here and they get a 4-0 vote that yes, we want to do this, instruct Jeff and the planning department and maybe President or Chairman Zimmerman to put together the findings for review at the next one, I think that may be as good as we could get today. So
even if we some of these are going to be a little easier than others, the ones that we feel are unanimous vote, I mean, I hate to delay it if we can.
You could give the provisional approval would be pretty good for the petitioner, because at that point they know that they've got the 4 votes to it.
Yeah.
And that it meets the planning code, and all you're doing is memorializing that.
Yeah.
It's similar to a court case. There'll be some times where a judge will say, well, I'm finding in favor of the plaintiff, and I'm going to put my order on paper later this week. Well, you've already won the thing. It's just a matter for it to come down. So
The formalities.
you're right. But it is important that if any of your decisions are ever challenged, that you do have evidence that I made the following, the board, made these findings of fact, and we accepted them. So there would have to be at your next meeting, or maybe a special meeting, which could be theoretically done on Zoom. Well, we're going to accept these findings of fact.
Okay.
So, but we can hear from our petitioners and then any opponents or supporters of the petitions. And they can describe, sometimes I've found in other jurisdictions that the petitioners can describe what they want as well or even better than our planning department.
Sure.
Mr. Graham, would like the board to know that we did, in our office, take north, south, east, west pictures, and also provided you guys with aerial views of each one.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, we can pretty much kind of know on some of these.
Absolutely. I believe that in all these, especially once you hear testimony, that there's enough evidence to make a final decision.
Yeah.
It's just, it has to be moralized on paper.
Yeah, I think if we can make a decision today, it's going to help all these folks, take their time out to come in and all that. And it's not their fault that we don't have the findings of facts, so. Okay, so we'll start with the first case, Z021. Would the petitioners like to come forward? Chris Kale. Sorry, you might not know your number.
Where do I go?
Just right up here. Sign your name and state your name and then sign it on the paper. Is there paper up there? Yeah.
Yes.
Just for the record.
I don't know what my new address is.
3108 West, 950 South.
I mean, it looks like the reason you're here today basically is just you want to build the barn in front of the house based on location and probably topography differences. Is that
Mhm.
what you're saying?
It's really the only place to put it.
Yeah. It's not going to interfere with septic or anything like that.
Mm-mm.
What kind of a structure is it? You might.
It's built by Morton's Buildings. It's just a shell, basically. Pole barn.
Pole barn. And it's 42 and a half by 55.
Correct.
So it's a good size barn. It'd be nice.
And if I can,
Yes, sure, go ahead, right ahead.
you mentioned it's the only place it can be. Could you describe that a little more?
Well, based on, I've learned a lot about this in the past couple months, is based on the setbacks. That's why you guys are saying that it's in front of the house. But if it's behind our house, there's a bunch of woods there, and then it's a protected wetlands area back there.
Yeah.
And then all the other parts of the land are pretty low.
And then the septic system is right back there too. I see.
Mhm.
I see that now. Your finger system. No. Yeah, we've seen a few of these come up in the county. Does anybody else on the board here have any questions?
I don't have a question, I have a comment. Basically, I drove past the parcel of land. Actually, you're gonna be my new neighbor, so welcome to the
Oh,
neighborhood.
thank you.
And so, across the street, a very good friend of mine has a home that's got a structure in front of his house as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
And I noticed the setting is like, and I completely agree, that is the only appropriate place that you could build that structure on that land
Mhm.
to avoid from that back
Sure.
lower land. So the visualization I saw when I drove past her about a month ago
Okay.
makes complete sense to me.
Thank you.
So,
Okay, thank you very much.
So I guess my question, how's that work as far as like a permit and,
Yeah, if it's approved here, then you go, Stacy will get you a permit then.
and then when does that
When
happen?
can you start building? Well, first we have to get the findings of facts,
Well,
correct?
Yeah, we do. And I'm gonna try to put something together.
Yeah, if you could put something together, that'd be great.
And we do need to ask if there's any comments.
I would definitely do that.
And then he can have an opportunity to answer that if there are.
Yeah, but yeah, you should get your permit pretty soon, actually.
Okay, so just stay in contact with
Stay with her,
Stacy?
yes,
7
exactly.
to 10 business days once it's all approved.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Does anybody else like to have a comment on this particular case? Okay. Do you have a question or? No.
I'm hearing the bid. I'm trying to understand what you guys are saying, but I don't know what's going on. But my name is Chris Byerly, and I'm here to check your permit. And so
Your last.
I'm
Okay, yeah.
I know.
I know.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, we kind of, sorry, we do this all the time, so I understand. You guys might not understand exactly what's going on here, but, yeah, we call each case up one by one and vote on it, and then we'll get to yours at the end. Okay, does anybody else have more questions or comments about this particular petition?
You have to make 3 findings in order to approve a variance, a development variance of this type. The first finding is, will the approval be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community? You could make a finding that no, it will not. Evidence has been heard that the proposed structure as presented will not be injurious and will be harmonious with surrounding neighborhoods. We've even heard through one of our members who lives close that evidence of that. Your second finding you have to make is, will the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance be affected in a substantially adverse manner? And again, for the same reasons as stated in 1, I believe you can make the same finding if you'd like. We've heard evidence from both the petitioner and a neighbor that it would not. We've heard no evidence to the contrary. And 3, will the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance result in any practical difficulty in the permitted use of the property? You could find that as yes, owing to other county ordinances, the existence of a wetland and the existence of a wooded area. Petitioner would be unable to build this structure without the approval of this variance. Stacy, is this being recorded so you could write this down later?
Yes.
What I just said?
Yep.
So if you'd like to, you could adopt what I just said as your 3 findings, and then Stacy will put those on paper, get them signed, and we could get this one put to bed.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you very much, Jeff. Okay, you've heard the 3 findings of facts presented by Mr. Graham, and I entertain a motion.
I've got a question before we
Sure.
proceed. On our agenda here, we have a petition 2021 Zulu 021, and on the paperwork it says 21 Victor, as in V instead of the Z. Is that a typo on the, make sure?
It is a variance on the petition, so I assume that the typo is on the agenda, Stacy, because this is a
It should
variance
be.
request.
V0.
It should be the, yes.
Thank
My
you.
apologies on
Yeah,
that.
good catch.
Yeah, great catch on that one. We'd be amending that later. Okay, so now I entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we accept, get the right verbiage here, 21V021, along with the findings and facts.
A second?
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes, sir. Lisa Hobbs,
Yes.
Jeremy Sand,
Yes?
Kurt Stevenson,
Yes.
and John Zimmerman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great, you're done. Okay, then. The next petitioner is Tracy Underwood, SU 009. If you would, just come forward, state your, write down your name and address, and state your name for the record.
Tracy Underwood. Do you want my home address or the address that we're looking at?
Your home address, correct, Stace?
Yes.
Yes.
11939 Gatwood View Drive.
Okay, and what would you like to do?
Well, we're looking at property, in Pendleton, Portville. We're here for a special exemption to be able to use it for a, boarding, daycare, and grooming facility for dogs.
Okay, it says on here that you will be connecting to city sewers, is that correct?
Correct.
And no animal waste will be in the
Correct.
sewer? So, water usage won't be a problem.
Yeah, we'll do well water. We called about that, but they said they don't have any plans of running city water there for a while.
What was the property before?
I'm not sure. It's just a vacant barn right now. It has a privacy fence, about 8-foot privacy fence, or on three sides, and we'll put a back side so it'll be completely fenced in. To give us outdoor space for the dogs. They will be not just free run, so they'll be watched at all times. So, and their outside play will be limited. As far as
Okay.
noise control, I know that's a big concern is noise with animals, but
It normally is,
yeah.
yes.
So,
Yeah. Yes.
That's why it'll be staffed. And they, like I said, they won't have access to go in and out as they please. It'll be trying to supervised playtime, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Let's see, you do have some neighbors kind of close by there.
Yes. Yeah, we've spoke with both of them.
Looks like you have a pretty good team.
Working on it.
There, yeah.
Working on it. I
Yeah.
went from me, myself, and I. Actually, my 82-year-old mother used to come in and assist me, if that tells you how desperate I was in the beginning.
Wow.
So when I first started, my biggest fear was making rent.
Mhm, sure, I understand.
I never thought I'd see a day where I'd have people actually, as they call me, boss lady. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Do you know what the zoning is? It doesn't say.
What the current zoning is there.
You know, I don't remember.
I don't have that down here. Normally we're
Well, I might. Now I've got the papers.
probably
It's currently
CR.
zoned conservation.
CR, yeah, that's kind of
Okay.
what I expected it was.
They did it after they moved this for the dog park.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that had special uses.
Yeah.
So that's why we.
Yeah, I thought it was CR. I didn't think it was ag. You're too close to town for that.
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody else on board have any questions for her?
No, I think she's done a pretty good job of explaining everything in her
Definitely.
letter of intent.
Yeah. You might notice too that there is a tree line, a proposed tree line there, or is that already there?
Partially, sorry, am I allowed to speak to?
Sure.
Which side? I was going to say which side.
Well, it's right here on the map, so it'd be on the left hand side.
Yeah, there's a house. There's a house right behind there.
I
So
saw
yes,
that.
we talked about putting a tree line there. Yes.
Yes, I'm sure that would be very beneficial.
Yeah.
He was a very nice man when we talked to him, so he was encouraging that too when we talked.
And then we'll actually, like I said, along the back line, I don't know if that plan shows. It doesn't. Off the side of the barn, there's the fence. So, I'm sorry, there's a fenced area. So we will actually be fencing in that back row, or the back side that butts up to the next store neighbor's garage area.
Okay, what kind of fence would that be?
It's an 8-foot privacy fence.
Oh,
So we'll just be adding on to the ones already
Right.
pre-existing.
I got you.
We've got two sides, we need to go back.
And then you have then this proposed, that's a proposed building that you're,
We,
I don't understand.
Well, we want to add just a small section there. It's kind of a reception area so we
Yeah.
can check people in and
Yeah.
out. What we're trying to do is avoid people going back where the dogs are.
Sure.
That helps eliminate a lot of the noise factor there too. But, so we wanted to put a small, just, like my size,
Yeah.
a small section there just to make it like a reception check-in area.
Stacy, that'd have to be a special permit for that, wouldn't it? But if this would get passed, then would she be able to get a permit for that without going in front of the board again?
A permit for what, I'm sorry?
For this little staging area, or this little reception area she's talking about?
If it's an additional building, she'll have to.
Just get a permit, but
I would,
She's not.
she wouldn't have to come in front of the board, I would think. No,
Oh, okay.
should just apply for it.
Okay.
just apply for a permit for that.
Okay.
So you're not here today at all for building that right now? You're here today just for the special exception to have the business.
I'm here for whatever I need to be here for, so you tell me.
Well, I don't think
I'm
we
not
can do
gonna
them-
lie,
I don't
this
think
is
we can
like-
do them both at the same time.
No, that's fine. That, I think, would go on my
But
contractor anyway.
You don't need us for the building permits, what we're trying to say. You only
Eventually we
need
will,
us
I guess, yeah,
for the
eventually,
special
yeah.
exception.
Planning department. You're going in the right order.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
you're right.
As long as we're in order. Right, right.
Okay. Okay, so I think we're all,
Yeah, the access road actually doesn't come in from the highway, comes in from the side street. the traffic wouldn't make any difference through there.
Comes on Ford Road, yeah.
And there's actually a turnaround in there also, so the people will be
Yes.
able to go around. So they won't be, some people are brave and back out onto roads, but ours at least have that.
Yeah, you're back off the road there quite a ways.
Yes.
334 feet. So.
Yes.
But close to the highway and that'll be, people will know where you are. I mean, that'll be close to the highway. Okay, you can just have a seat
Okay,
there for
thanks.
a second. Yes.
Well, I had Liz, that's why I kind of was stumbling, but I had Liz send me down because I wanted to confirm this for sure. On the fence, it cannot be higher than 6 feet, so it cannot be an 8-foot fence.
So the one fence is already pre-existing,
According, if you put new up.
so we have to
it
keep
has
that at
to
6
be-
feet.
Would have to be
Okay.
6 feet, yes.
But
That's
there's an
fine.
8-foot fence there now?
Yeah.
But my understanding and the way we've always done it is if anything new comes along, it has to go under the ordinance today. And the ordinance states.
Unless we would
106
make
feet.
exception.
Which would have to be, yep.
Yes.
We could make an exception, it's all for the same.
Well, one of the main reasons, 8 feet is just for security. I mean, even though somebody be out there, you might have that one dog that tries to do his escape
What I'm
route.
just saying
So
is part
it's
of-
6 feet, 6 feet
Is
is,
that a condition of your approval to BZA that has to be
8 feet.
tall? You could.
Well, or it could be. It could be up to 8 feet tall. What I'm saying is if part of the fence is already there,
You don't have.
that's gonna be
Yeah.
stair step
Exactly.
down, that's gonna look kind of
Exactly.
funky. So,
We'll do 6, we'll do 8.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
You
make
let
sure
us
you guys
know.
knew that that's what the ordinance states.
right.
So.
So in a when we go to vote on this, we need that if we decide to do that, up to an 8-foot fence
okay.
due to part of it already being there, if we decide to go that way. But that's an option. Okay. now you
Okay,
can-
thank you.
All right, now we're ready for public comment on this. Anybody for or against this petition for the dog kennel? Nobody? All righty. Have you come up with
Well, we can
some
go through it.
same thing
We can go
again?
through it together.
Okay, great.
You have to make 4 findings to approve a special use. The first one is exactly the same as what we just did on the variance. Would the approval be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community? And I think my suggestion would be, if I was going to pretend to be a planner and draw a staff report, I'd lean heavily on the drawing that they've provided you. I think the drawing is very good in addressing the concerns in our ordinance for granting a special use. By having the setbacks, the buildings where they are, et cetera, I believe that they address the concerns and would make the answer to that first question no. If the conditions are observed on the drawing, provided the business and activities will be sufficiently distant from surrounding properties as to not be injurious to any of the concerns contained in finding 1. Number 2, will the requirements and development standards set forth in the district for such exceptions be made? And the answer to that is yes. Again, if they follow their drawing and construct everything exactly as described on there, then they will meet that. They will not violate any development standard contained in our ordinance. We have this as a special exception for a reason, and they've demonstrated why we have that in there. 3, will the proposed use subvert and permanently injure other property or uses in the same district and vicinity? Again, through their drawing, we have evidence that it will not, because again, they've taken into account a vicinity to neighboring properties. The condition of the land overall is not extremely close to a residential area, and there's no evidence to the contrary in front of you here today. And the last one is, will the proposed use be consistent with the character of the zoning district and comprehensive plan? And the answer to that, I believe, could be yes. The special use does not alter the characteristics of the zoning district of this particular parcel, primarily because when this ordinance was adopted, we considered that this kind of business could be put in if conditions were met, with the condition of of compliance with the drawing provided, the character of the zoning district where it's currently at is maintained and preserved. And then the conditions would be that the petitioner would have to comply with substantially at least with the drawing that's provided. If the thing gets moved an inch, they don't have to come back, but substantial compliance. And then what Chairman Zimmerman mentioned with regard to the fence, up to 8 feet is permissible, as described in the petitioner's presentation.
Thank you very much. Very good, very good. Any questions about the findings from the board? Any questions to the petitioners before we, if not, I entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve 2021 SU 009 with the finding of facts and with the conditions presented.
Second.
Okay, and just for clarity, does that include the exception for the 8-foot fence?
Correct.
I'll second that also.
Okay, we're ready for a roll call vote.
Lisa Hobbs,
Yes.
Mary Sam,
Yes.
Kurt Stevenson,
Yes.
and John Zimmerman.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, you're good to go. Check with her then on the getting the permit.
Have a good day.
Thanks, Steve. You're welcome.
Okay, the third one, SU 0010. Oh, this is one, we've seen these before come through. This is one where we want to build a pole barn before the new home is built. We'll probably want some clarification on that one, on what we're going to do there. State your name and...
I'm Daphne Holzleiter with Mustin Builders.
Okay, you want to sign in there too, please?
You want him to sign or both?
Both would be fine.
Okay.
With a straight too.
Yeah. Here's one of those. Right here.
Oh, yeah.
According to the ordinance, we've had trouble in the past where people have built a barn on a property and then not built the house later. But that's why you're in front of us today for special exception. So,
Yes, the Rodriguez family wasn't aware that you couldn't do the pole barn before the house. So he's already purchased materials. He's already had a contractor lined up to start it. So when they came to talk to us about building their house, I told them we'd kind of help try to get them through the process.
right, exactly. I guess the first question we have is what time frame is there going to be between the barn being built and the house being built?
From this, the barn will potentially be finished and then we would start the house. We're still working with them on
Okay,
pricing.
so
Let
the
me-
start of the construction would be 6 months, 4 months?
For the pole barn,
No, for the house. Between the house and the pole barn. That's what we're concerned about.
I would probably say 30 to 60 days, not very long.
Between the,
Between the,
yes.
right, yeah, between finishing and starting,
Okay.
yes.
That's our biggest concern, because
Correct.
we've had these where they've gone on and
Yes.
drug on and drug on, and then,
The key thing with
We've had to
their
come back.
pole barn is there's no well or septic.
yes, well, I read that, it's just a basic structure.
Correct.
Um,
So-
and you've already had,
Go ahead, Alex.
and you've already had the perk test, I see, and
Yes.
so there won't be trouble building the house because of, setback, septic, all that.
Correct. Yes.
Stacy, have you looked, if they weren't building, if they weren't thinking about building the barn, if they were just going in there, gonna build the house, would they have any trouble getting the permit?
No, the only thing that, Mr. Newman did state that, he wanted to make sure that, the location of the house is pretty far off the road, and they would have to go, to my recollection, they would have to go over a creek
Yes.
or some type of a.
Correct.
It's not a drain, but he would probably
Open
require
ditch.
them to put in like a
Culvert,
drain,
a culvert.
Correct.
culvert.
Yes.
to make sure that.
Which they're aware of. We've
You're
all
aware of that.
discussed
Well,
it.
you want to do
Yes.
that for the barn anyway.
Correct.
So,
Yes.
okay, but I guess my biggest concern is we allow them to build the barn, and then for some reason, they don't qualify to build the house.
What they've proposed so far, yes, they will be able to.
Okay,
The barn's also located on the highest area of their 26 acres, which is something we discussed with Brad's office.
Yes.
okay, sorry, go ahead.
So, question, are you under contract yet on building the home, or are you still in negotiation?
We're still working with them to get pricing because everything changes so rapidly. But we've already have their floor plan, which I did give to Stacy. I mean, you guys are more than welcome to look. If you want to pass this around, if you guys want to kind of look at what they're going to build. Initially, I was trying to get them through this process so they could get started on that, so then we could wrap up the house part.
Yeah,
Because I think he's paid for materials, like, he's had them for 2 months, I think, already. Because they had no idea they had to come through and do all the steps that we're doing right now.
totally understand.
Which I think on your, I don't know if you have
Drawing
the
here,
same
yeah.
thing I
Okay.
have.
Yeah,
Is this what you
yeah,
have?
yeah.
There's no color.
Okay. Because the house is right here.
Sure.
Back in here, I think she said. So that's gotta go over that. That's not a regulated drain out there?
I have
Okay.
it. Okay.
Well, they can still put a culvert in the regulated drain.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was just making sure.
They can't build on top of
They
it.
didn't have to go to drainage board or.
Oh. No,
Here stays.
not for that.
I've got a question on the acreage. When people build a barn before the house, isn't the cutoff on acreage below 5 acres? Since they have over 20 acres, is this a requirement they have to pass?
We don't know.
Okay.
Good question, though.
I was thinking the cutoff was 5 acres and below.
I think it's 20.
I like their setbacks, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Is our ordinance not online anymore?
It is. You have to go to, under us.
Is your question meaning they need to have a separate 5-acre parcel just specifically for the house?
No, I think his question is that it's big enough that it should qualify to build the barn anyway.
I was thinking if it's for ag,
That's for storage, really, basically, is what you're using it for, right?
we built our barn
What are you
prior
doing?
to
Yeah.
the house and it was, thank you, Jesus, we did. But we pulled both permits at the same time.
Same time, yeah. See, that's a little different.
Okay.
Yeah.
He'll probably put trees around it and do different things. They also own a landscaping company.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
your setback.
Right.
Yes, is it 25?
What's that? Oh,
I was thinking it was 25, but I could be wrong.
What was the question?
Is there an acreage, if you got to a certain acreage, is this step necessary?
I guess if we're gonna vote on it, doesn't matter what the ordinance says.
Yeah, if we're gonna vote, if we pass it, it doesn't really matter. Okay, I guess our questions to you right now are okay if you want to just take a seat in case you gotta pop back up or something. Is there any public comment on this petition?
We own surrounding.
Yeah, if you want to come up and speak, just, yeah, I'm sorry, you have to because of the record. You got it. I know.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Hi neighbor. I don't have to sign it.
Yeah, go ahead and sign it. Just sign it. Just sign it so we have you on record. That's the main reason.
Okay. We own, well, this was a part of my husband's family farm. He's been there since when we were 5 years old, and now we're 65 years. A long time.
Long time.
So we, when his mother passed, then we had to divide it between the siblings. And I believe what he bought is the sister's part that goes behind the original house.
Okay.
So we would have Cross Street and 500 East.
Right.
And our house goes back down a lane and into the woods.
Okay.
So we have these woods and 8.25 acres on the corner of Cross Street and 500 East.
Okay.
And then that would butt up to where I think your property starts before the house. Okay. And then it runs, so I'm not sure what the width of that property is, but it goes back and across the ditch and in behind the remainder of the ditch.
Yeah, we see it here. We have a
Okay.
picture of it.
Okay. So, just my question was, can I ask if the house proposed to be before the ditch and the barn, or is it after the ditch?
After the ditch, all the way back.
All the way back, and our woods is there, and yours is back in the...
That's
okay.
why they have to put it, that's why we're talking about the
Okay.
culvert,
Yeah.
so that it won't affect the water flow, but they can still drive over it to
Yeah.
get back to their place.
Okay, well, that was, I didn't know where things were going.
You're right.
And so that was my question. That's a very simple question.
That,
So,
I'm glad you asked it, though. It's great. Thank you. Okay. You want us to wait on you, Jeff, or?
You can, general thoughts on it, conditions, things like that, looking here, so answer Jerry's question.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sure Brad looked into it, or he wouldn't have done this.
Right.
Much paperwork on it anyway.
Right. It would count.
Beers were okay. We could also.
But we need, what, 3 findings of facts on this one?
Well,
Of exception?
This is
Oh, this is
this is
4-2.
special use as well. At least that's what the application says.
I thought it'd been an exception because
They're kind of the same thing. They're special exceptions, special uses.
it's not like he's doing a business or anything there. but-
Right. That was one of the things that gave me pause on this, and that's sometimes a blind spot on my analysis of these things, but to me, this seems more like a waiver of a requirement than a
Yeah.
special use exception.
That's what I thought.
But maybe. This is filed as a special use petition. The special uses in an ag district are a continued feeding operation, animal boarding, livestock auction or sale facility, commercial greenhouse, farmer's market for products grown off-site, farm implement sales and service, and seasonal farm worker housing.
But it's zoned ag anyway.
It is ZAG
So he's
owned.
building
Ag zoned.
Seems like to me it's an exception. I don't know. I guess we just need, I guess we had some findings of facts we could vote on.
Yes, yeah, you do have, I'll bring those up. You have 4, the proposal will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. I believe with the drawing again that's in front of you and the lack of evidence that it would not, and the testimony we received here today from the petitioner and the petitioner's agent, that there is evidence that it would not interfere with any of those aforementioned concerns. 2, the requirements and development standards for the requested special use as presented by this ordinance will be met. Well, they'll be met, you could decide they will be met by, as long as they follow the procedures given here. Now, I was looking to try to answer Jerry's question, but was there a timetable given? Would the board like to have put a condition on as far as timing? Or?
We normally have in the past.
Okay,
Like,
because if you don't, I mean, there would be no requirement to ever build the house other than I'll do it later.
We normally give them substantial time, like
Sure.
6 months or a year or something.
Any thoughts on
To
that?
start, not to finish, but to start. You know, we got to have some kind of timetable in there. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because we really didn't discuss that, but we normally, in past ones, we've done that anyway.
In our initial conversation was once the weather gets better to start
Yeah.
in-house.
So about June.
Yeah. If we give you a year to start, that ought to be more than enough.
A year to start, and it's, something happens, you can always come back before this board and say, I need 13 months.
Okay.
So the proposed condition there is a year, and that will help answer number 2. Number 3, granting the special use will not subvert the general purposes served by this ordinance and will not permanently injure other property or uses in the same district and vicinity. Assuming the conditions that you're going to imply are met and the conditions found in the drawings are met, this is an agricultural parcel. This is an agricultural use. Nobody's going to be surprised that this thing's there if they bought land in an agricultural area.
Right.
So that it does not change the character of the surrounding vicinity. Same thing. And then 4, the proposed use will be consistent with the character of the zoning district in which it is located in the Madison County Comprehensive Plan. I think that's a pretty easy yes. It's a farming structure in a farming area. It's
Very
not
good.
out of character at all. So with the condition of 1 year to begin after approval, and the condition that the substantial compliance with the petition, the commission or the BZA can make those findings.
Great. Any other questions to Jeff or to the petitioners? If not, I entertain a motion.
I make a motion with the, accept the petition 2021 SU 0010, along with the findings and facts, and with the condition that they build within 1 year of the barn's completion.
Second.
Roll call vote?
I would, before we
Wait a
vote
minute.
on that, the way that was phrased, we might
Yeah.
want to tighten that a little bit. A year within the barn's completion, do you want it to be a year of this decision? The barn's completion could be, we're going to leave a window off and it's not complete. I'm just thinking like the lawyer they would hire, not the ones that, not these two, but I know my type very well.
Well, we talked about a year to start the house from now.
From now. It's up to you, Jerry. You're the,
Yeah.
but I'm just seeing some weasel words there that lawyers would use. You know what it means, but when we read it.
I'll amend that to be within a year of today's date.
I'll second that again.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Yes, sir. Lisa Haas,
Yes.
Jerry Stamp,
Yes.
Bruce Stevenson,
Yes.
and John Zimmerman.
Yes. Done. Thank you very much for coming in. Okay, this one, it's a variance, 022. It's a variance on a sign height, in a GC zoning district.
This is for the Dollar General, I don't.
Yeah, the Dollar General that we heard a few months ago. Yep.
I'm sign company.
Yep, come right on up. So Hutchison Sign Company is the petitioner on this one. I'm asking for a variance because of the restricted height. The new farm credit sign down the road, what's the height? Is the height on that one? We made exception on that one, didn't we?
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did. That's what I was thinking. This is in a GC zoning district. Keep in mind on that one. And the, what's the proposed height?
20 feet.
20 feet. And I was thinking that the farm credit sign that was just put up a few years ago was about that.
About that, yep.
Did you put that one up?
No, sir.
No? Yeah, here it is, 20 feet. Stacy, what is it, or maybe you might know, what's the what's the height exemption now? 15, isn't it?
Correct, 15 feet,
So we're going
right.
from 15 to 20. I gotta read my notes a little better. Okay, any other comments you want to make?
No, sir, I just here to answer any questions or any concerns that you may have.
We all understand where it is.
Yep.
And everything. We talked about the general building out there, but does anybody have any questions for him?
No.
I guess.
It may be in your petition. Where is this thing going to be?
Well, I have a site plan right here.
Right,
Yes, sir.
That's enough money. Didn't open it right now.
Do you mind if we look at that for a second?
Yeah.
Huh?
I don't have a copy of that.
Here's the entrance, probably sign, setback.
Okay. The entrance, there's the sign, and then there's the setback.
This is the road. Is this the road here?
He said this is the entrance.
Entrance right there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Stacy, do you want to?
Thank you very much.
You want a copy of that, probably?
Yes,
At some point.
I can, please. I can have this copy. Awesome.
We kind of need that for the record, just.
Is there any concern among the board members or planning staff about is there a safety concern? I mean, we have these height requirements for a reason. I'm not saying there is or there isn't. Any thoughts there? Would it obstruct anyone's view or?
There's no, you have an 8-inch pipe. I mean, that's basically what you have, is holding that structure up, heavy wall. So there's no like panel that goes from the sign to the ground, so you can see around it. And not only that, it sets far enough back off the road. As you can tell on that site plan, the right of way is way back from the entrance of the property. So, you know, and then the structure itself is, if I remember correctly, it's a 50 to 80 mile an hour constant wind, 150 mile an hour gust. if I remember correctly, something, that right along those lines.
Is it a lighted sign?
Yes. All the lighting for Dollar General is controlled with, centrally. So all lighting goes off except for security lighting on the building itself goes off, I think, at 10 o'clock. So 10, 11
Oh,
o'clock.
so when they close.
When they
the
close,
light-
like an hour after they close, after the employees leave, then the lighting will go down, except for security lighting on the building itself. Parking lot lighting goes down, signs go down.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's good. Have that sign go down that.
There's residents out there, but not that many, and at 10 o'clock, that light going off, yeah.
I think it's an hour after the employees leave. They give them time to close and then get out to the vehicles and then.
Sign goes down. Okay.
You can make that a condition, board, if you want to.
Okay, does anybody else have more questions for him? What do you think? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Is there any public comment for this petition? All right. We have some findings and facts going here.
Sure, you got 3 findings to make on a development variance, which you've already passed one of them today. Will the approval be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community? We've heard testimony from the petitioner that the sign with its setback, its location, and overall condition will not be injurious to any of those. There are conditions assuming that the sign meets the criteria that he's not testified, but stated here today with regard to wind ratings and things of that nature. Number 2, will the use and value of the area adjacent to the property, including the variance, be affected in a substantially adverse manner? You could answer that no, it will not. This is already a general commercial area. It's accustomed to, and with signs, commercial signs of this nature, the extra 5 feet, which is really all you're voting on, not the presence of a sign, you're voting on 5 feet, won't make a substantial difference to any of the properties around, as it will fairly fit in with the past practice of the property and the surrounding area and the anticipated use going in the future. And the third use, will the strict applications of the term of the zoning ordinance result in a practical difficulty in the permitted use of the property? You could answer that one that yes, if we stuck it to them and said it needs to be strict, we could say yes, that would be a practical difficulty, and that the visibility and the ability for the commercial business to run properly would be adversely affected by a smaller sign.
Smaller sign. Okay, is there any questions from the board over the findings and facts?
Only I would say is, once again, you are allowed to put reasonable conditions on hours of illumination and things of that nature, in requiring that the sign be built according to the site plan that was presented to the planning department. That a sign just to 15 feet would not be, or 20 feet would not be allowed anywhere. It must be in compliance with the plans provided today.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question.
Sure, come right on up.
When we presented when I applied for the sign permit,
Yes.
we actually got the permit by mistake.
Sure.
Okay, so the sign where it sits now is what was originally submitted. The only question was that it needed to be 5 foot taller. Okay. Right. Okay, so with the permit that I have applied for and been approved, once this committee or board finds, if it finds in favor, would my permit that I have right now be valid?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think it would be.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I don't think you gotta get another permit. Okay, entertain a motion.
Do we do any public comment?
Yeah, we already did that.
Okay. I was thinking then.
What's that?
I said I must have been in thought
Oh.
then. Easy, Mr. Wordy.
I make a motion that we accept petition 2021V022 along with the findings and facts.
Second.
You want to do the lighting on,
I,
or do you?
if I remember correctly, we talked about this when they talked about building the store, about the lighting that was gonna be around the building.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
we did.
I think, yeah, they would continue, yes. Yeah, you are right on that one. Okay, and accept the findings of facts. Okay, roll call vote?
Yes, sir. Lisa Hobbs,
Yes.
Jerry Stan,
Yes.
Kurt Stevenson,
Yes.
and John Zimmerman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. SU 011, special use to add additional storage in a GC zoning. This is for they already have we've already approved a storage units there. This was just to add on to the existing. This is in a GC zoning district.
That would be Mr. Byerly.
Let's see, when was the original? What time I think when that one was? Should I be able to give us an answer here?
Mm.
Next to last.
Hilbert, Ray Hilbert.
What's your name?
Not Ray Hilbert.
I don't have any
Ray
paper.
Hilbert here.
I don't have any paperwork on the next one after that.
I got withdrew. Last one has withdrawn.
Mine has.
Ray, he withdrew his petition, was waiting for.
Okay, so what are these guys?
Oh, the weekend league.
That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. It's just one of our neighbors.
Yes,
Oh.
yes, he did, he has pulled his.
Oh, I'm
petition.
sorry.
And that's what was waiting, I was told to wait till the end when you guys got ready to talk about it.
Okay, do you, well, one thing you could do,
Lopez on the agenda stays.
no, he wasn't even on the agenda.
No, it was. He wasn't on the board to be here today.
No,
That's right.
wait, if you just hold up a minute, just hold up a second. On yours, yes, I asked about theirs, and you said it wasn't on there, so.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't told that they were supposed to be heard this month.
That's what Brent told us. We dragged this out.
I understand that, I totally understand that.
And unfortunately, with everything that's happened, they were not written on the board to be heard again.
Can we can't vote on theirs, but can we discuss theirs?
Yeah, you can discuss anything.
Yeah. Why don't you just hold tight a minute?
And we could, if need be, if something's falling through the cracks, we could even do a Zoom type special meeting.
Yeah, and get that one going. Okay, back to yours. Sorry for just a minute. Could we at least hear their comment? So,
I don't know that we had one. We just have a piece of property that's next to theirs, and we didn't know what it was. And I feel like that's the purpose of everybody getting these letters is, hey, something's going to be affecting your large piece of property.
We just wanted
So
to
we
like
just
make sure
wanted
it
to-
wasn't negatively affecting us.
Or we need to.
yeah, okay, well, I will tell you this, it was a variance for a front yard setback from 50 feet to 30 feet.
Gotcha.
If he reapplies, you'll get notice again.
Gotcha.
But it's just going from 50 feet to 30 feet.
Right, and we have 1,500 feet of road frontage, so we were interested to hear what these things sound like and what you can and can't do, so that was all.
Can you,
I can, because I know that we've been dealing with this one for.
right, what are they building?
So they were originally wanting to pull off the new home that's being built there. They were originally wanting to come off the private drive there. There was question because the people that built in front of them the neighbors around you guys had thought, well, you can't come off that drive. But technically, they could have came off that private drive because there's 3. There could be 3 driveways coming off that drive. And since the person in front of them towards Fall Creek decided to come off of Fall Creek instead of coming down the private lane, that allowed them to have the access to that private drive. But they were wanting to build closer to the private drive. Since then, they have decided that they are just going to leave it in the location, put it back in the same configuration that they had prior to applying for the variance.
So they don't even need to come in front of this board then, since they've changed.
Since they've withdrawn, no, they don't have to.
Well, thank you for the info.
You're very welcome.
Sorry you had to wait to the end to hear that.
That's okay. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. We had to try to get some things cleaned up a little bit. Okay, now we're back to the storage units. Yeah, if you want to just fill us in a little bit about this one. When was the originals? Do you remember when the originals were built?
I'm sorry?
When the storage unit?
When did Dan originally build the first units? Do you know?
We built one last year, and this is gonna be the second one for this year. Same size building, but just a little bit shorter than the other one. Just right beside it, probably about 60 feet away from the other one.
And how many storage units does he have out there right now altogether?
Are you talking just the pole barn or just the
Storage.
storage unit, the whole thing?
The units.
Well, there's 4 pole barns, there's storage unit, and we got let's see, probably about 20
Yeah, these are showing.
20 individual storage units building.
Okay. And you're just wanting to build another one this year?
Yes.
And they have to come in front of us because of special use. Anytime they add on to an existing, they still have to come up in front of us. Couldn't they? No, too late now. But I was just thinking, if they're planning, you say you're building this one, then you're gonna build another one next year.
Say that one more time.
You're building this one this year, and then you're planning to build another one in a year or two.
No, the other one's already been built.
No, I mean, are you gonna build any more after this one?
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It depends how things go.
Right. I just think it'd be easier if they just get a permit to build 2 or 3 to begin with.
Well, there was discussion at one of the meetings that because of state design releases that were requested at one of the meetings, and I can't remember, Jeff, was that at a planning or was it here?
It's here.
We discussed it here last year.
Yeah.
And that, to my recollection, it was anytime that they wanted to add a new building, they had to come before the board.
Yeah. I don't understand that, but.
Wasn't there concern about runoff in this?
I believe on the last one, the neighbor lady had a
Yes.
concern about the runoff coming onto her property. And with an additional building, will that put more runoff onto her?
That I don't know. I don't remember the.
Because this is all concrete, correct? The parking and everything's all concrete?
Well, this one right here, this is the one we just built last year. Then that's the new one right there. That you said it's be closer to our office.
But what's the parking lot? Is it?
Where's the driving part of it?
Is it gravel or concrete?
I'm sorry?
Is it gravel?
It could be all concrete.
Where's the runoff going now?
If you look at the shaded big pole barn,
Yes.
that's where north and south. The driveway will come out straight between the little ones, straight up east and west up to the new pole barn, and to the other one too.
If this is all concrete around these buildings, where's the water gonna run to?
There's a pond right behind all the little areas, so all the water will run down towards the pond, and there's a creek, the water runs down to a swell. So everything pretty much, flood plan's already been done and everything.
So you had the pond dug for the last one. You had the pond dug before.
Yeah.
for the
I was
others?
done, I would say somewhere about 20 years ago. All the drainage will go to that.
The ponds before the railroad,
The pond is right behind this small individual storage unit.
okay, back
Between
down here.
the two little lines and
Yeah.
and there.
Okay. I don't have an aerial of that, so, well, it is, but. So on this map here, is the pond down here? Because here's all the small units.
Did we have something come up?
Is it okay if I walk up there?
Sure, yeah.
We required him from this point forward, going on to do something with some kind of engineering or?
Okay, the pond is right behind there, what's that?
I was thinking that was the
right in
Dollar
here.
General, wasn't it?
This
No,
building, I
it
knew
was
was
them,
building
because he
that
kept
one.
building.
Right in here, yeah. We
need to
saw
go
that.
back, look in the old structure.
Saw that on this.
Well, let's see.
So you're right
Yeah.
there, yeah, and the pond's right here.
My mind is
Yeah,
on.
right, okay. All right, thank you.
Jeff, what's he showing you?
Okay, the pond is,
It's really not, I mean, it is a pond, but it's a drainage pond, so when it overflows, then it runs off and.
to a creek. The pond is back here behind these.
I remember in the prior meeting, that local lady that came in was complaining that pond was not sufficient. There was always runoff into the creek that always flooded. I don't feel comfortable making any decision on this, and I think we need to table it to get more information, because I'm trying to recall the things that we were dealing with in the past time.
It was the water runoff.
It was the water runoff, and there was some kind of we wanted some kind of engineering report to say, as you build any more structures, this needs to be done, because some of these structures, I don't know if we have a proper information to understand what the runoff because they continue to put more concrete, we're gonna put more stress on that. So I won't feel comfortable at all voting on this today.
And wasn't there a concern that we had before about the state issuing
Yes.
permits to build?
Yes.
And there were some buildings that built
didn't
without a
know.
permit.
Yeah.
And we was gonna look into that.
Correct.
We need to check our work previously and invite him to come back in February.
Yeah. What do we do about an engineering report on that, though?
That was put back in their court to come back with that, was it not?
I believe so. Let's see what we're required to be able to do.
I think it was.
I do, now that you guys are saying that, I do remember
Yeah.
that now. That was the main issue, was the water.
It was all the issue,
And then the permits for the buildings that were built.
that they had to identify, yeah. So I move that we table it.
Okay.
You move that we table it, and then we have our office, go back and review the old petition to find exactly what we required them to do and make sure that that's been done. Is that what you're?
I think we need to get that information as a group and
Provide us with a copy as soon as possible.
Right.
Yeah, because on the drainage, I do remember that, and I'm surprised that lady wasn't here, because she was the one that was
super
concerned.
adamant. And I
Yeah.
understand,
Yeah.
big time.
I'll second your motion.
Okay, we can do it. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Get with Stacy afterwards. We're gonna petition this one to get more information on this pond from the last, you had him on the last drawings. We're gonna need some more information on this one. But just get with her afterwards. So we're gonna be done here in a little bit, so just hold tight. Okay. Yeah, would you guys like to come up front? Okay, since you weren't on the agenda, we can't actually vote on this one, but we've all kind of remembered this, excuse me, this particular case. You're still wanting to build a living structure on top of the storage unit?
That we wanted spatial use for the landscaping business. And that's why we rezoned it to agricultural. pardon my ignorance, but what, is something happened with Brad that he's not here?
Yeah, he's gonna be off for a while. So, yeah, it's kind of putting our office in a little bit of a
Yep.
pinch. The,
Well, this started off as a mistake to begin with, because when it all started, Fidel didn't understand the rules, and so we started building a structure, and then we trying to clean up the problem. When I came to the planning commission to begin with to start this, all we needed to do was come in and get a special use and for putting the house on top of the garage and doing the landscaping business. But after the first meeting, they realized that we had done it out of order based on what information we were given from the planning department.
right.
So with all that said, we've drug this timeline out forever now, and I
A
get
few months,
I get
yes.
the unforeseen conditions. I get all that, but we've got building materials sitting there being damaged from the weather and stuff. We just need to find a path to go forward or stop, whichever
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
And I just heard you accept a pole barn for a guy that's going to be doing landscaping out of it.
Yeah,
And
that's not the problem we have.
I get that.
That's not the problem we're having. We don't, the business, according to, what we've done in the past and what we're thinking, I think that part's okay. I guess the problem that I have personally is living above the storage unit down below. That's the only problem I have.
And what is your problem with that? Just
I guess the way the ordinance is in the county, for one, and safety. I guess it's not so much for you, but when you go to sell it, we've talked about this numerous times. I guess that's the only problem I have. I don't have any trouble with your business and building it. I don't have any trouble with that.
how's it different from a walkout basement where you got parking underneath it? I mean,
Yeah,
aesthetics
yeah.
is the only difference I see in it, John,
Yeah.
is if it's
Right,
sitting
right,
on top of the ground or
right.
in the ground.
Stacy, procedurally, is there a petition pending?
I think we tabled it, but it's probably been 4 months.
You tabled it 4 months ago so that we could go back and do the agricultural rezoning and stuff.
Is that done?
Yes.
That is done.
Yes, that is done, yes.
The commissioners approved that to be
Correct.
That I don't know. I
They
was,
did?
Yes, they
I was gonna
did.
say, I did not hear from Brad on that one.
Okay, so
then we had he came back with a new petition, or was it, did you piggyback on the old one?
Brad said to just be back here the 25th, that it would just roll into this meeting.
well, if we tabled it, why can't we vote on it?
Is there notice to the surrounding landowners? You provided the notice the first time.
Well, the first time.
We've done it twice now.
Did we table this in the summer, or did we table it to this date?
It got tabled, this particular petition got tabled back in probably September.
September, October.
It was before October, because then they missed it. It got thrown back again
Because
because
we missed one.
we
We missed
wanted
the
to do
meeting.
farming, and there were, Wes and people were out farming, so.
Yeah, we were all, yeah. So then, but if it's tabled, I don't see why we can't vote on it.
I'm concerned about the notice to the surrounding landowners, because of the, if we pass something, the board can always vote to amend the agenda and add this to the agenda. And we can hear it today. My concern would be if I'm somebody that doesn't want the thing, and I'm trying to remember, at the initial hearing, did we have?
We had two people come up and talk. Both of them were, one was concerned about property line setback, because they said it wasn't 10 foot off the property line, but it's 10 foot off of
That's
what?
where the building is. That's right. That's where the
Exactly.
building is. It was 10 foot right alongside the property.
Property line.
I do remember that now. I
And
do remember that.
then the second one was the lady was concerned about what we were gonna do with septic, because she had to put a county sewer in, or a city sewer in, and she.
That
didn't
was
wanna-
clear up front, though. That was clear up
Yes,
front on the
it
other
doesn't
side.
even- Doesn't even affect the property.
Then how about the property back behind around the corner there?
That's the Clendenin's property, and that's trashed. I mean, it's.
I kind of remember that.
I got called out there probably 5 years ago
Violation
while
on-
Russ was still alive,
On the
to pick up dead carcasses and pick up livestock that was being abused to haul to Purdue. And it died on the trailer on the way up there, it was that bad. So that property shouldn't even be talked about.
No, that had to do with this
Yeah.
case. I think some of those people might have been concerned, because I remember they brought that up.
They did, but they were in favor of the Clendenins because they were holding them up for honor, saying that they were cleaning the place up, but it's still a salvage yard.
Probably not permitted for that.
My concern is not what the remonstrators say, is if
Yep.
we pass something today, approve this, and if anybody would come back and say, how could I have known about this? It wasn't on the agenda, I didn't receive notice of it, it was tabled back in the fall, but not to the next meeting.
I get exactly what you're saying, and
I think
they,
the court's gonna yank it right up from, and you're gonna be the one injured.
the same
Not us.
people, well, we're taking the injuries now, so the same people were said the same thing at every board meeting we've been to so far.
I understand.
Is any of the board members opposed for them to get notification out and we call a Zoom meeting? No?
Well, I'm not a board member.
Yeah, I'd like to speed this thing up. I totally agree with him. We need to get this thing going.
So what's the board's feel on what we're proposing?
Would you like me to react?
I mean, is it just a muted point?
I guess me personally, I would rather not have the living up above, but that's my only really complaint.
Well, the ordinance calls
But I'm
for it
not
can't
saying
be
you can't
40%.
do it. I would rather you not do
40%
that.
downstairs. Yeah, I
There has
think,
to be at least 40% on the first floor.
Yeah. See, he knows it better than I do.
well, I know, but I know some houses like that.
Yeah.
There's lots of them around there. There's,
Yeah.
you know, I've sat in too many of these board meetings now. And and this is no disrespect to anybody, but you sit in here and you render stuff and you're telling us that you have no teeth. You can't enforce the stuff that you're rendering.
Well, it's like the neighbor behind you.
Absolutely. And the neighbor across the street from me. There's Mr. Flowers has a rental property there that he has a house and a pole barn. They built the pole barn in the drainage ditch. And now they're running a business out of the pole barn and they're running a business out of the house, and there's equipment parked all over the yard. It's all mud now. They track mud out every day, that it's at least a bit damp. They're bringing in broken concrete, piles of dirt. So, I mean, I can go on and on. So we're really, after listening to what goes on, it's disheartening when you're in here trying to do it the right way.
The right way. Exactly. I totally agree.
I do have the variance decision back from October, if you would like me to read what the decision was.
Sure.
Okay. Discussion was had among board members and Director Newman. Member Hobbs made a motion to continue the meeting until it's been brought into compliance until the first of our meetings after the Planning Commission and Commissioners have voted on the rezone. So it was continued until brought into compliance and the Planning Commission and Commissioners had voted on the rezone. I had not been privy to that it had been approved by the Commissioners. So if it was due to be back on the agenda this month, I was not made aware of that.
Right. Well,
Is
it was.
the property brought into compliance as far as the miscellaneous debris and stuff like that on the property?
It is 90%. I would say it's 90 to 95% in compliance. The debris that's on this project right now is materials for the building. And there's material in those storage bins that are on the south side. Yeah, south side of the property. There's those storage bins that we've talked about covering, but we're not putting any more. Brad suggested not to pull permits for covering them and wait until after we heard what this was going to happen.
And then that would bring it all in compliance.
And then that would bring it into compliance.
We need to move on this one.
But
And to my understanding, there was, the violation was for other junk and debris, not in that area where the foundation was at, but it was further up on the property.
there is a pile of firewood which I don't believe is junk and debris, honestly, but there's a pile of firewood out in the front. There's still a swing set for kids' playground equipment that is sitting there. And I believe you took care of all the skids, correct?
A lot of those debris already gone now. It's most already cleaned up now, so.
So I would say it's 90 to 95% in compliance, where before it was probably 2% in compliance. I mean, there was a lot of debris sitting around that's been hauled off and cleaned up.
Can we go ahead and do a motion and not vote on it? Or how?
Can.
Well, or can we, because you say we can't vote without public hearing, correct?
My concern, and we could have the public hearing on this, but my concern is the notice to people, and even 6 months after the fact, if somebody that doesn't like him says, how can he do that? Oh, they got a special use from the board of zoning.
But it was
But it was
continued, it's continued. I mean,
But it has to be continued to a time certain.
Right.
A person sitting here that's interested in that has to know, when can I come back?
Yeah.
And this person could even say, well, I looked at the agenda, what do you wrong with that?
Right.
I understand what these guys are saying, and I think they should be accommodated as soon as possible, but I'm really concerned that in fact, I know that if I was a lawyer for somebody that didn't like him, I could come back a year later and cause him all kinds of problems and knock out your Board of Zoning Appeals decision. That you're not following procedure.
Can I make a motion, please?
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion that we table it till our next meeting date of
It's February 22nd, 2022.
the February 22nd date, because we've got our
Before you
attorney.
table it, before you table it though, can I ask you something?
Yeah, but
Sure.
hang on.
Okay.
We are being advised by our attorney, and I see what he's saying. When the lady was sitting here, we didn't give her a definite date to come back and have the opportunity to speak.
And you can assume it's the next meeting date.
And-
Then when that doesn't happen, and you don't show up.
But we tabled it with the.
We had to get it rezoned. That was a
Plus
no-brainer.
bringing it in
We had to do
compliance. And part of my motion would be that we have Tom go out and take pictures and make sure that the compliance, issue has been met. Now, I'm okay with an organized mess. You live in the country. And trust me, I fight this every day in my daytime job as a code enforcement officer for Elwood. But, that is my motion, that we table it, per the recommendation of our attorney, set it for February 22nd. And Tom, make a site visit and make sure that the compliance is handled.
And the petitioner will be the first on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yeah,
Correct.
get him in, get him out here.
Yes, get him in, get him out.
Will I have enough time to get the mailings out to the public?
Well, yeah, because it's next meeting, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how
They gotta go out
else.
10 days prior.
And that protects them.
Right.
It
Well,
protects them. I hate to delay it. that
Yeah,
much
this
longer.
body is not shining in glory right now, but at the same time, I hate to pass something.
And I agree 100% with you. That, I'm just trying to see the temperature of the committee here. Are we on the right track here? Are we wasting time?
I think if what she says gets met, I'd say you're in good shape. I mean, that's my just personal opinion.
And that's all I'm asking for.
my personal opinion is whether you have first floor living area or second floor living area, you're the one that has to decide, go up and down it all the time. I understand the ordinance of the 40%, but I would be,
Well, if you understand that ordinance, explain it to me.
one of the things that basically they want first floor living area
Mhm.
for the aesthetics of it. So you don't have 2-car garages and an entry door when you look down a driveway. To me, that's what the
Okay.
issue is. How you choose to live, you're gonna be in shape. That's all I got to tell you.
Okay.
I second the motion.
Thank you.
we need a roll call vote on that? Probably do. No? We'll just do all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. That's
Stacy,
about-
do I need to do the mailings this time?
I'll get with you.
All right, thank you.
Jeff, is there a way to do the mailings where
Sorry about that. I don't.
they have noticed that they were served but not be as expensive for certified cards?
Yes, we need to change our internal rules, though, to reflect that. Our internal rules say certified return receipt. We need to change that to the proof of mail. And that would still meet the state statute. The problem is our internal rules in BZA say it shall be sent certified return receipt, which is supposed to be. We need to, and I think
we need
this board can change those rules. So Stacy, maybe remind me to put those on the agenda for next month.
Mhm.
We'll change our internal rules.
I mean, because this is his third time now having to notify, and if you get the same results, I don't like to do the certified mailings, I like to do the proof of mailings, so.
The last 2 years, you get people are writing COVID on it.
Right. The post office is just scribbling COVID on there and throwing them in the mailbox anyway, and we don't know if they're getting them, and we're paying for nothing.
And then the other thing that I would bring up is that we need to try and figure out, Jeff, I don't know if this, how we do this, but we have no petty cash to do that. And usually when we remail, one of us has to pay for it. Liz just put out $50 for this meeting that is getting reimbursed, so I don't know how we go about trying to get petty cash for our office for these remailings.
I'll work with the commissioners and the auditor on that. That's all I have to authorize that.
Okay.
Well, or get plenty of stamps, I mean, we buy boatloads of
They
stamps to
won't,
have it.
according to what Liz said, that when we do the mailings again, they will not accept our stamps. It has to be the
Meter.
certified or certificate of mailing.
We'll figure it out. The sheriff's department just recently has had some additions on for credit cards and debit cards.
Okay.
Well, Jeff, thanks for those. If you can, in the future, if you could just go ahead and do those findings of facts.
Yeah, I hope
That way-
you will have an interim planning director at your next meeting. But until then, I will have, I'll put together at least an outline of what might work, and we can edit it as we go. But the county is aware of the issue and working very hard to get a new person in, pursuant to what the plan commission wants, who has the ultimate say on the planning director. Medium-term replacement.
Stacy, do we have very many next time? I know we're gonna have one, but
I'm sorry, what was
I
your
thought
question?
she said 3.
we're gonna have 2 leftovers from this meeting.
This will be 3. As
You got 1 new one,
we have 2 new ones.
2 new ones, and then 2
And then
that are
this one.
tabled.
Mm-hmm.
Because we got the pond to deal with, and then that one.
Yes. So
That one will be an easy one, should be fairly easy, and then the
right now
pond
it's
will be the
about 4.
little tougher one to figure that out. And they might not get that done in 1 meeting, in 1 month. Because was there even a engineering study done on that? I know we talked about the pond and all that, but was there anything officially done?
Them, wouldn't it? Yeah. That would be on them to bring back to us.
I can pull.
Once you pull that and see, and if not, I think we need that though. I think we need that for the next, whenever we hear them. It might be in March, but we need, because if we don't do that and that lady comes back to us, we have to have proof that say, this is the reason we voted on this was for this reason. So on his deal, we've got to.
And we're still waiting for records to come back from the state also. I believe it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What? For state design releases?
Yep.
We state design releases should be back before they ever even issue a building permit.
Yes. And
But they didn't have
he had built some without
Yeah.
getting the state design releases. I know from, whenever our last meeting was for Byerly, that he had provided us with all the state design releases that were requested at a prior meeting. I don't recall what date that was. But I know that we have everything, all state design releases up into this date, and he may have sent us the state design release on this one.
Well, we need that too. So we can state design release, and then we gotta have something on this water bill. Because if not, she could easily come back on us.
I sure don't see it in.
I'm glad we tabled that one. That was a good call there. Okay, anything else?
Congratulations on being the new president.
Oh, thank you.
See, you do such a good job, they just leave you there.
Thank you for that. But I will not be here in March. I mean, in February, I'm sorry. I'll be here in March. I'm lucky I'm here. I just had surgery last week. That's what I'm doing, Taylor sitting, but I made it, so. Anyway. The drain tube, they took the drain tube out. It won't seal. Oh, gosh. All right, motion to adjourn.
Second.